All right. Good morning. Let's go ahead and get started. Rao, are you ready to do the technical debrief?
Yeah.
Awesome. Over to you.
Okay, there's the link to the community debrief, the technical update part, 145. And let me share my screen. So the releases as we stand now, they are the same as they were last week. There is a new, I'm sorry, this was actually a typo here. Maybe I should fix it right now. I typed here 0927, but it's really 0925.7. So it's 0925.7. It's a bug fix release. There was a data corruption error that we talked about some time ago, and all instances of that were not caught in the previous fixes. So Tomislav has completed that. And this relates to how the direct buffer is used and how that interacts with the LMDB. So that is now done, and the release is being tagged, and it should be available soon, today or tomorrow. And it'll be tested on the testnet first, on the observers, then on testnet validators, and it will eventually make its way to the mainnet. So that's where the 0925 series is. The big piece of work, of course, that's coming is the 0926 branch, which is the last finalized state branch. Like I said, last week, Tomislav had a few days off, but he is now getting ready to release 0926. In the testing of 0926, and this we think is like the last thing in testing that we have to resolve. He discovered a memory leak that happens sometimes. So he's trying to resolve that. It seems to be related to a bunch of dependencies we had to implement as part of this 0926. The Scala PB, the protobuf stuff, the gRPC and the NetE updates were not, but there seems to be a workaround that's listed in one of those packages as to how to get around this. So he is testing that, trying to see if that will take care of the memory leak issue. So once that's resolved, 0926 will be published, and then of course it'll go through the migration on the testnet observers through validators to mainnet eventually. So that's kind of where we are with the last finalized state release. And separately, there has been a lot of work going on the block merge release. And in the past, I think I was calling block merge the 0928, but you will see on the bottom here that I had slightly changed the schemes here because 0927 is what will be block merge now. I have to look at the GitHub to make sure we correct it over there also. But it is, there was substantial progress on it. NutZipper and Will have been working on it. And NutZipper had his PR of refactorings to Casper and to block processing. And I'll just maybe share with you the, so this in terms of 0927, 0925.7, that should be out today or tomorrow, has these fixes to data corruption that I was talking about earlier, and has a few other updates to the dependencies. That's what is there with that. In terms of 0927 block merge release, there is this PR, the block processing refactoring and Casper refactoring that's in. And there is a lot of work on Will's branch also, that all of this will be merged. And then there's more work to be done basically before we get to any 0927 releases. But I just wanted to point out that we're making good progress there with the block merge. Let me see if there's anything else on the releases that I want to say. I think mostly that's what we want to say. I mean, with all these refactorings that NetZipper and Will have been doing, as well as Tomislav, I think we're close to completing the current round of refactorings, though we will see. I mean, it's an ongoing thing because as we try to untangle these things and streamline how the different pieces or modules of the code base are working, there will be more, but I think most of what we need to do there is done for the current round, at least what is needed for block merge. So that's kind of where we are on that. The other main event or activity in the last week was we successfully concluded the hackathon. The participation is much lower than what we were hoping for or expecting. But I think there is one person that's continuing to work with Jim and Dan on the liquid democracy tasks that kind of builds on top of our vote. And I think the agreement is that they would like to continue to work with him. And he also has Scala background, but he's able to work on the project only part-time. So we don't want to overload him too much, but we will probably expose him to some of the problems on the Scala side and see if he's able to help out on the core platform tasks also. But all of this is going to be slow going. Basically, anybody that joins the team has somewhat of a steep learning curve that they need to go through to be able to do that. So we are, but we'll work on that and continue with that. The other aspect of this hackathon is that really where we are with the code base now that it is usable, and we're almost there with the last final state and block merge. Say by the end of the year, we'll probably have block merge. We're now at a point where we need to focus on building the developer ecosystem as a significant task, just like we're focusing on development. So that's kind of what we're planning to do, and we will get together with the folks that are helping Jim, Dan, and Theo, and anybody else that's willing to help with that to get both the process of marketing to developers and getting them engaged, getting them onboarded, getting them to do something useful. So we need to put that process in place. And as part of that is we're going to do or enhance the education sessions. I think Greg is looking at doing education in Golang and process calculi, and we'll probably look at, instead of us just having to bring people to our sessions, we'll probably try to create courses and put them out in Coursera, Udemy, and whatever other platforms are there so that people can go through them at their own pace and yet be directed to join the community where they can collaborate and learn more and get their questions answered, things like that. So that's part of that. How we're thinking about the education is also different, meaning we need to put it out in multiple places. And then marketing all of that, both the fact that there is education available, that there are hackathons, that there is a developer community and a platform that is ready to be used. All of this takes marketing. Ian and Steve Henley and team have been working on that quite significantly for the hackathon. So they will continue that, and we will also look at what else we can do to get the message out. And we have a hackathon tentatively scheduled as of now for January 9th and 10th weekend is the next hackathon. And we might do that like every couple of months or something like that. It's not, we're still in the learning process, I would say, on that, but we want to increase the learning cycles, shorten the learning cycles, and get that engine going whereby people can come and over a span of time learn things, deliver things. So there's an event to celebrate that delivery of dApps, and then you move on to the next cohort, something like that. So I think that's a lot to do, but that's kind of what we're taking on. With that, I think that's all I wanted to say today. Any questions on any of this, either on the technology side or the education and developer ecosystem side?
Very good. Thank you, Ra. That was excellent. Yeah, I'm also very encouraged by the professionalism that the whole team is delivering with respect to making sure the last finalized state is as bug-free as we can make it. This is a very critical feature, and if there are problems, we could lose state. So we don't want to do that. That's why it's we have to make sure that it's very rigorously tested. All right, moving on. Daryl, are you ready to do the community and review?
Yes, I am here.
Awesome.
All right, so this is the community week in review for the 5th of November to today, November 11th. Last Thursday, the governance committee, they didn't have a meeting. The attendees instead worked on the hackathon. On Friday, in the climate and coordination call, we discussed the cost of not acting on climate in Australia, as well as the report on Arctic sea ice failing to refreeze by October. We also discussed what is now a dire need for a social network that fosters collective intelligence. On Monday's Casper Stand-Up, they spoke about V-enriched symmetric monoidal closed categories and a generalized power object construction. Also on Monday in the RDev member co-op planning, the attendees discussed the recent hackathon and liquid democracy. They discussed the eventual need to conduct a consensus to determine whether general insurance or health insurance would be needed more. And they discussed risk pools for staking operations, smart contracts, and crowdfunding. Yesterday in the communications working group, we arrived at a final conclusion around CoinMarketCap links and discussed optimizing our Medium channel. And this morning in the members hangout, we discussed the logistics of making the next hackathon achieve more engagement. And that is it for last week.
Awesome. Any questions for Daryl? Okay, Daryl, I do have a question. Do we have some articles up on Medium from the China side of the world?
Okay, so the RChain China Medium channel, we decided to delete. So I now have to take those articles and plop them over onto our normal Medium channel, and I haven't done that yet. So there was like 3 or 4 there that I'll have to do over the next day or two. And then
maybe
we'll have
Daryl, you could say why we arrived at that conclusion.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, because after discussing with the Chinese community, we realized that because of the Great Firewall of China, Chinese people from China at least can't access Medium, so it's not really that useful. So yeah.
So that wasn't really the point of it. The point was the other way around. We know that the Chinese people can't access Medium, but there's a lot of articles that have been published in China that that are not found by Google searches. And so the whole point of the RChain China Medium account was to reflect what was happening in China because it's not visible to Google searches. So I think there was a misunderstanding.
Okay, so should we bring back the RChain China Medium channel?
Yeah, that
Well,
was. Yeah, that's what it was there for, was to keep it separate, right? So it's a separate stream of articles, so that people can kind of get, people on this side of the Great Firewall can get a view of what's happening in China. Because I don't think a lot of people understand how big a presence RChain has in China.
I see. Okay.
Greg, does that mean that you would want the articles that are written in Chinese to be translated into English and then posted on the RChain medium, or would you like them posted in Chinese?
What we had agreed on originally was that we would have both the Chinese and the English, so people could see, our translations, and then, people who are more adept or have their own view of what the article is posted can go back to the Chinese source.
Oh, okay, because that's what I had. I had like.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. I thought you'd already done the work, and I'm surprised that we forgot all of this critical.
Well, this is easily fixable, so.
Yeah, I guess the last time I thought we discussed that we were going to do that, but we were just going to fold it all into the one Medium channel.
No, the idea was to keep it separate because that way people can, there's sort of one place to go to get a view of what's going on in China.
Okay.
Coolio. Great. Well, no, I'm very excited, and I know you've done a lot of work on this, and so I'm looking forward for people to be able to see some of what's going on in China with respect to RChain.
Okay, yeah. So there's like 3 or 4 that I put up there, and then there's I would say a handful more from Eric that I can still put up there too. So
that's great.
I'll make sure I get that happening this week and get that channel back up and running. Sorry for the confusion.
Yeah, no worries. I'm glad I asked, actually. All right. So there's another line of investigation that is turning out to be quite promising. So we've been as a part of investigating various jurisdictions that are more friendly to blockchain. One of the things that we've discovered is that there seems to be a legislative trend at the state level. So Wyoming has recently provided a Safe Harbor Act for utility tokens. And it looks like California is also pursuing similarly supportive legislation. And in fact, there are a number of states that are moving in this direction. And that has really good import for the co-op, especially the Wyoming law. It's like their legislators more or less anticipated the structure that we arrived at. Or no, I'm sorry, not anticipated, post-anticipated. Since we came up with it in 2017, and they just now have adopted this legislation. It doesn't really help with respect to business operations in the United States, because obviously we're not all of our business is conducted with citizens of Wyoming. But the fact that this legislation, this legislative trend is moving in the right direction is helpful to get other jurisdictions such as Washington State to move in that direction as well. So I was very pleased to see that, as we dig in a little bit more and more of the states are adopting a more blockchain friendly attitude, which is what we hoped would happen. But it's good to see it's happening in a timeline that's in our lifetimes, as opposed to time frame that is not as relevant. Rao, Daryl, Ian, you guys want to chime in with your thoughts on that?
I just wanted to add that actually the fact that California has kind of followed in the same direction. I'm not sure exactly whether the statutes have been created or not, but looks like California had approved some bills on the crypto industry that seem to be in the same direction. And I think that's very significant.
Yeah, I agree.
And a few other states, but
I'm less encouraged by the kind, like there was a 2019 Washington state bill that recognized smart contracts as legally binding contracts, which is really a misunderstanding of what smart contracts are. I spent yesterday thinking about, so why would you recognize those programs as legally binding as opposed to any JavaScript program or any Scala program or any C# program? What picks out those computer programs as legally binding?
It's crazy because it's like they literally took the word contract to mean an actual contract.
Exactly. So Washington State is really behind the curve here. They don't really understand what's going on. I was joking with the board yesterday that someone who does have some technical savvy paired up with a lawyer could really clean up as a consultant for Washington State. It's really hilarious. But anyway, we hope that they will become more educated in the not too distant future. All right. Well, is there anything else that we want to touch base on here? Okay. So there are some interesting items to discuss in the closed door session, especially related to the SPV. So we have some business related matters that we want to discuss with the community. So I hope as many people as can come will come to the closed door session on Friday. With that, thank you all. Please stay safe, and we'll be seeing you soon. Ciao.